Bristol Community College, Mathematics with Dan Avedikian, Math 132, Calculus with Applications, Section 12.3, Problem 8. This is Section 12.3, Problem number 8. It says, find the derivative of f of x equals the square root of 8x to the third plus 5. So, in the form that it's written, you can't really apply any of the derivative rules that we know because of the square root. So the trick to start this problem going is to rewrite the function as 8x to the third plus 5 in parentheses raised to the 1/2 power. That's now the same as the square root. Now that it's in this form, it is basically some stuff in parentheses to a power. So f of x equals some stuff in parentheses raised to a power. Now the power happens to be a fraction. The exponent is a fraction. That's not going to matter at all. We're going to apply the chain rule formula, which says f prime of x equals n. The exponent comes down in front of the parentheses. You leave the stuff the way it is. Put a new exponent on the stuff, which is n minus 1, one less power, and then multiply times the derivative of the stuff, which I write as stuff prime. So that's what we're going to fill out. So when we start, f prime of x equals the n, or in this case 1/2, is going to come down in front of the parentheses. I have 1/2. Leave the stuff the same, so the 8x to the third plus 5 just stays. Now the exponent's n minus 1, so 1/2 minus 1. So again, because it's a fraction, you might have to slow down for a minute and think about it. So 1/2 minus 1. Think of the 1 as 2 over 2. That's a 1. But now in this form, you have a common denominator. So my new exponent of n minus 1, the denominator is going to be 2. The numerator 1 minus 2 is minus 1. And then times stuff prime. The stuff was 8x to the third plus 5. So when you do the derivative, the 8x to the third will make a 24x to the second. And again, where that's coming from, the exponent of 3 comes down times the number in front, which is 8. 3 times 8, there's a 24. X to 1 less power. So that third power drops down to a second power. And now the plus 5 on the end, because it has no x, it just disappears. It's 0. So it's really 24x to the second plus 0. You don't have to write the plus 0. Now, that is the answer. It can be simplified. You don't have to. But if you'd like to simplify it, the 1/2 in front of the parentheses times the 24 that's coming after the parentheses, you can make that a 12. So f prime of x equals 12x squared. And now this is going to be times 8x to the third plus 5 to the negative 1/2. Now, if you like, because it has a negative exponent, which isn't that sensible when you want to start plugging in actual values for x, you can put that back down in the denominator. And you can have f prime of x equals, set up a fraction, 12x to the second in the top, 8x to the third plus 5 to the positive 1/2 underneath. And then, if you want, if you don't like the fractional exponents, you can actually write that as 12x squared over, instead of 8x to the third plus 5 all raised to the 1/2 power, you can make it 8x to the third plus 5 and put that in a square root. So if you do want to simplify your answer to the very end in a very simplified form, you would have f prime of x equals 12x squared in the numerator of a fraction over the square root of 8x cubed plus 5 in the denominator.